And what is the root to the problem you think that these children are facing?
I think these kids are facing a lot of challenges. I think part of it is just the time and the place that they are in history is challenging. And there's a lot that's coming at them at warp speed, at much faster of a speed than it came at me when I was a kid, or Mr. Dickerson when he was a kid. I think that that they're facing racism in a different type of way. They're not facing overt racism with the Klansmen with the hood on. As a matter of fact, I was showing a picture of a Klansman to these 17-year-old African-American boys, and they didn't know what it was. They just thought it was some fool with a hood on. And I was like, well, it's that, but it's more. There's a history behind that. And there's a sadness to that little story because it shows also how disconnected they are to their history. I would challenge you or anybody else to find me a 17-year-old Jewish young man that would not understand what the representation of a swastika was. Doesn't exist. This doesn't exist because they've done a beautiful job of teaching their kids and teaching the rest of us about that whole thing. Whereas African-American kids, they don't know their history.
Mm.
My biggest, I think what my opinion is that for being a student right now, it's socialization. You see, it's supposed to be black students are going to end up like this. Black students are going to end up in jail. You don't see a lot of black people as having certain jobs. So you're socialized for Latino people to do this and black people do this. So I think our biggest problem is to deconstruct what we've been constructed to do, what we're supposed to do for so long. And the village slowly peels back that reconstruction. The Imbob Assembly pulls back that deconstruction. Lifeline, seeing parents going along with the movement pulls back the deconstruction. So it's all about finding a place where we know that we could do it. And both of them provide that space for us.
Yeah, because the parent component is when we talk to the kids, whether it's on campus or off campus, and they say, well, Mr. Dickerson, can I do this? Yes, you can. There's no such thing as, no, I can't do this. If this is what you want to be, like she wants to be a chef or somebody wants to do something else, be a nurse, we'll find a way. We'll go up and talk to the counselors and say, what does this young lady or young man need to do to get in this profession? Because what we also have to understand is with budget cuts in LAUSD, the counselors are overwhelmed. They have 600-700 kids on their caseload. Everybody is overwhelmed. So you sort of like need a buffer in there to help the kids to get where they need to go to. Like in next month, October 14th, we have back to school night. Now the Lifeline along with the village, we'll have a packet for the parents. Let them know the A through G requirements, what your kid's SAT score needs to be, what your GPA needs to be, what colleges are available, aren't available. Because right now to go to college in California is kind of hard. It's hard. UCLA last year turned down a lot of 4.0 students because they couldn't admit them. There was nowhere to take them. The Cal State schools, all of them, it's hard right now. So we also present alternatives to the parents and the kids. And one of them this fall is we're going to take a busload of parents and students to the Black College Fair. The historically black colleges do have scholarships to give our kids, to our youth, but that information is not disseminated down to them and their parents. Well, that is something we plan to do.
Along with that, on the 2 days later, on October 16th, we have a parent summit in which we're soliciting all parents K through 12 to come to Cleveland High School from 8 o'clock in the morning to 12:30 for a parent summit to where we teach them how to be advocates for their children. We teach them about the things that Rodger just got finished speaking about. And we bring in front of them some of the students and so they can see the end product of what this thing can end up being and be about.
I want to go back to an assembly that you mentioned earlier in the show called Black and Brown Love.
Yes.
Oh, you need to go to that.
Tell me what that's about.
Well, Black Brown Love is a proactive movement to bring our black and brown communities together in unity and to get them to understand the common denominators that lie between them. And so it's interesting because while other schools are having conflicts with their black and brown populations, and in fact, a couple of years ago, there was a big riot in one of the LAUSD schools. That next day, the superintendent came to Cleveland High School and said to us, Fluke, you guys have the largest high school in the second largest school district in America. You have 4,200 students there. 2,600 are Latino. 300 or 400 are African American. Yet you don't have these conflicts on your campus. Why? Part of it is, of course, we're proactive. And so we do events like this Black Brown Love event, which is in February, where the African American organization, the Village Nation, hosts for its brown brothers and sisters assembly. And we, through song and through music and through spoken word and through all types of history clips and all types of things, we show both communities what they have in common. And that it's crazy for them to be fighting over the crumbs that they're fighting over. And you know, and our black and brown kids are coming from the ghettos and the barrios, and they're again filling up these prisons. And we're trying to let them see that's not the move.
How is the Village Nation funded?
Great question. Selling T-shirts out of the trunk of our cars, selling CDs. We have some grants that we go after, and we've been blessed with that. We have a partnership with UCLA that yields us a little bit of a grant. The White Stewart Fund has been helpful as well. And so primarily through grants, the school district has very little money. They try to do some help here and there. They have a auxiliary period that they give me to give me some time to do some of the work that needs to be done. But we're hurting for money, to be honest with you.
And what has contributed to the success of the program?
The great teachers that we have, the incredible students that we have, the parent support that we have. All those entities have helped to contribute to the success of the Village Nation.
And where do you see the Village Nation in the next 10 years?
Great question. I see the Village Nation with real funding and with us expanding it to other schools, to other cities, to other places. We also have an event called Solution, to where we bring 1,100 kids downtown every Thanksgiving, and we feed over 3,000 homeless people. And that's tied into our service learning requirements. So I see the Village Nation as something that could be expanded upon and replicated. Not this Village Nation for African American children, but how about a Village Nation for Latino children, El Pueblo, if you want to call it that. So we have other visions, and we also teach teachers how to do what we're doing, and administrators. That's the real big step, is for not just to be exclusively at Cleveland or at Palisades High School, but for us to create the Summer Institute, which we already have, in which we teach teachers and administrators from around the country about our methodologies.
And how can the viewers at home watching get involved?
Or they could go to our website. That would be the first great step, www.thevillagenation.com. And they can see a lot of what we do. They'll have access to our email and our contact information, and they can get involved and help us with any of our events, Black, Brown, Love, the Solution events, and any of our powerful impact assemblies.
Okay. And can you briefly explain to me your involvement with Brother to Brother, how you got
Sure. Yeah, I was blessed by the author Beth Johnson, along with 9 other brothers, to be a part of a book called Brother to Brother, which is really a book that us 10 brothers tell our stories, tell our journey. And it was designed and so younger kids can read the book, see perhaps parts of themselves and their own lives in it, and see that at the end of that tunnel there is some light and there is some possibilities and that there is some hope. And so now the book is being used as a tool for the national mentoring movement to use between mentors and mentees to help break the ice, to help start a conversation about where they're at in life and where they're trying to go.
Well, that's all we have time for. I want to thank you all for coming and being a part of the show. You've been watching On Point. I'm Climesha McDaniel. Now, what obstacles have you faced, through starting the Village Nation?
Always financial obstacles. There's always that challenge. There's always the obstacle of making sure that everybody gets the message and gets the word of what needs to be done, when it needs to be done, and how it needs to be done. So communication is always somewhat of a challenge. And this motivating, I guess, teenagers, period, sometimes is a challenge. We're blessed with good ones like Desirade. That's less of a challenge, but yeah.